we have discussed like how software development works, right? So business come to the software development company. From the software development company, BAs, business analyst, prepare the business requirement document and functional requirement document and use cases. And this requirement document, functional requirement document, use cases, this document they send it to the development group and the testing group. Okay, so development group, they do their technical design document and then they develop the software. Testing group at the same time, they analyze the requirement and based on the requirement they prepare their test plan and test cases. Okay, and once the software is developed and deployed means they put it for testing, then the QA testers or software testers test the software. So when they do the testing, what is their basis? They test the software based on the test cases they have written. Now these test cases, when they have written the test cases, the software QA people, what do they follow? They follow the requirement document. They read the requirement, they understand the requirement, and to test this requirement they write test cases and they prepare test plan how they will be testing, right? And then they do the testing. If they find any defect, they report defect and they say, hey Mr. Developer, this part you have developed, but I'm looking at it, it seems like it is not matching with the requirement or the functionality is not working. Can you revisit and do necessary changes? They write defect or bug. Okay, so we have discussed this document in multiple classes. I'm not going to go further. If you have any question, you should have this document. If you do not have it, let me know. I'll be send it to you. So there are some few other things that we have here, so go through this. Then we have discussed let me close this. Then we have discussed software development methodology, right? And application architecture. We have discussed this application architecture again in multiple classes. So what did we discuss in this software development architecture, guys? Try to understand this. It is very important that you understand this. So let's say that I'm giving an example here. Okay, so let's say when you log into your Gmail, guys, follow this language. When you log into your Gmail from your browser, you type your user ID, you type your password. So when you log in from your browser, what do you do? When you log in from your browser, what do you do? When you log into your Gmail account,
And password.
you input your email ID and password. Then what happens? This email ID, remember that Gmail that you are using in your laptop, right? You are using the client portion of it. That software, you are able to go to gmail.com because Gmail is using a big computer system from where, guys, give me a minute. Hello. Let me add you as well. So let me add Razabai. He has got disconnected from our call.
It's fine. It's fine now.
So when you send your user ID and password, right? So let me tell you this. When you go to Gmail, let's say I'm going to create a incognito window, and if I go to gmail.com, what do you see? It will give you the option to input user ID. Is that correct? Now I want to ask you, how, what is this mechanism? How you are able to get this website? Obviously it is not coming from sky, or it is not coming from any like supernatural way. It is coming by a procedure. Can anyone tell me like how you are getting this website? Every time you go there you get this. How?
It's coming from server.
It's coming from server. Which, where is the server? Who are maintaining this server for you?
Some people who work in the Google server, like they have a position in the server. They have a big data somewhere in US or somewhere, I'm not sure like where, but so it's all the data is going to the server. The server responds to back. This data is connected, and then your email is open. So you can
So
see
first of all, guys, first of all, when you go to that gmail.com, you are able to see this nice page, right? Nice little page, because you are able to see, because there are dedicated teams from Google who is making sure that whenever you are going there, this page is available for you, and they have big server somewhere which is supporting this application. It is keeping this application up for you so that you can access it. We are calling those big computer as server. Those big computer which is supporting this application so that you can use it, we are calling those computer as server. The name of those computer is server.
it's like the supercomputer.
Let's say it is a kind of big computer. We are not sure like if it is a supercomputer or how big it is, but for now these are big servers who is keeping this application up 24 by 7, right? 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You are getting the service because those servers are working to keep this application up, right? Now you type your username. For example, let's say if you type something like this and try to click next, what do you see? What do you see?
Couldn't find the
Couldn't find your Google account. Couldn't find your Google account. That means
username.
instantly, right? Instantly. So two things that I'm going to bring here. One is we did a negative testing. We did a negative testing here. How? So negative testing is if you provide invalid data. Guys, what is negative testing? If you provide invalid test data, right? বাংলায় বলে না চোখে আঙ্গুল দিয়ে দেখাই দেয়া, right? It will show you specifically, hey, this is wrong data, this is invalid data, you cannot move forward. The system behaves gracefully. The system behaves gracefully in terms of negative data. When you provide negative data to a system, it will be behaving gracefully. That is what we are calling negative testing. Does it make sense? Right? So gracefully means, right? Gracefully means it will, when you put invalid data, it will, can you see it is pointing it with a mark red icon and it is giving a message. Can you see this? So that is what we are calling gracefully. It will be giving you appropriate information that, hey, this is not correct, you are not using the right data. Whereas if you go to new tools.demo.aut and if you put a incorrect user ID and password here and sign in, did it say it anywhere that you input a incorrect? It didn't, but it gave you a login page. It is a test application, it is a demo application, it is not a real application. So it doesn't have a graceful way to behave. I will say it is not a very graceful way to show you. It didn't log you in, but it didn't show you an appropriate message either. Does it make sense, guys? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I will say that it didn't behave gracefully. But one of the finest application in the world is Google. One of the finest. but they behave gracefully. Is that correct? Okay, very good. Now, so what is happening here? So you have input this user ID, and then straight away it is saying no, it is not a right data. How? So that means it is taking your data and then it is doing a comparison with something. Is that correct? Do you understand this? Okay. So it is taking this data from you, and when it is saying that uh, this is not correct, what type of testing we are doing here? Negative testing. Negative testing. Now we are submitting this data. This data is going to the server. Basically, this is the client, that the interface that you are using here. This is the Gmail client. Okay. When you are sending this data, this data it is taking, and then if you look at this document here, this data is directly going to the application server. First of all, it is hitting the application server, and application server process this data and send it to the database server, and make sure that in the database server we have a right entry for this. You got it? You have the right entry for this. Now when this first of all, from your client, this data is hitting to the application server, and from the application server, right, from the application server, this is going to the database for the comparison. The application server is sending it to the database server for the comparison, and
Also the database, or is it going to the server and coming back to the client?
again, without looking at the database, it will not be able to say if it is the correct data or not. So it is coming to the application server, and application server is sending it to the database for comparison. Remember, these database servers are again big computers. Those computer only hold database. Okay. Now you understand this mechanism, the way it works. So we send our user ID and password. The application server process it and send it to the database server to see if you have a right, if the credential is correct, and then if it is correct, then it is saying okay, yeah, it is moving forward. If it is not correct, then it is behaving gracefully here that the user ID is not correct. Does it make sense up to this, guys? Okay. Now let's come to this sqa.elan. So I have this email, okay, with Google, sqa.elan. If I say next here, now what? It will ask for the password. Because now can you see, with this is positive data, right? Positive data. Now when I am supplying a valid data, right, then it is behaving as expected. That is what positive testing. When you supply good data, it will be showing you the appropriate features, appropriate functionalities. Does it make sense, guys? So, and when I sent that good user ID, then again it went to that application server, and from the application server it went to the database and make sure that there is an entry, there is an user ID with this name in the database. Does it make sense? And then when you input password, again it will be going to the application server, and now it will be sending that user ID and password and see if this has a matching entry in the database, and then it will give you access. Does it make sense how this software system works? Any further question, guys? Just close it. Let me go to this application architecture, understanding class 1 table, different objects, skills, syllabus, and skills. SDLC, software development life cycle, right? Okay, so this document, like I have some note, and then I have discussed with you this software development methodology. Software development methodology. Okay, so we have discussed different software development methodology in our class. One is waterfall, another one is agile. In waterfall methodology, the first they prepare the requirement, and once the requirement is done, then they go to the design, and then once the design is done, they implement it, and then they test it, and then it goes for production. It goes like waterfall, step by step. Once you are done designing, then they'll be implementing. Once your designing is done, that is locked. You are not making any modification. So waterfall, that is what waterfall methodology is. And in agile methodology, right, it is open in modifying requirements. So here it goes iteration by iteration. Every time you have, like, let's say you have 10 requirements that you have to develop. So you work with 2 requirement, right, and then you test it, and then you deploy it, and then you go for another 2 requirement, and then you do the testing, and then you deploy it, and then user evaluation, whatever you do, and then you go step by step. You go step by step. When all the requirements are done, right, then it goes for final system test, and it goes for production. That is what we are calling agile methodology. We have discussed in the class. The discussions are in the video. So if you don't have the document, right, send me an email. I'll be forwarding you this document again. Any questions so far, guys? Okay, so now, so the another document that we have discussed is that requirement document. So we have discussed a lot that BAs, the business, right, who prepares the requirement document for us. Who prepared the requirement document? Business analyst. Business analyst prepared the requirement document not from like how they think, how they love it to. No, they prepare it according to the requirement from business, and there is a different organization follow different format, different templates, but the key part here is this product features 2.2. Can you see product features? So our testing people, they read these product features very carefully, and they write their test cases from these product features. You got it? So we'll be looking at test cases, but this product, you need to read each of these product features, and from there you gonna assume that, okay, how much time it will take for you to prepare all of these documents, right? You make a plan, testing plan. From each of these features, you write test case to test them thoroughly and appropriately. So these product features are very important for you. I have supplied you this document. So this document, again, you will be preparing a test plan from this document, and then you will be writing some test cases. Remember, if we work as a tester, our key things are test cases. We write a lot of test cases, and then, so if you work in a bank as a cashier, what is your main task? You count money. When people come to your branch, if they want money, you give them money. If they want to deposit money, you deposit money. That's what you do. This is your primary job, right? If you work in a bank as a cashier, isn't it? You store people's money. If they want to take money out of their account, you give them money. If you work as a tester, give me 1 second, guys. Hey, Jenny. Hey, how are you? So I have so that unit, right? I was able to rent it without any painting work. So now I have some work, like there is a faucet that will need to be attached, and then there are few electric bulb, those need to be there, and then I have two refrigerators you will have to set up. So just tell me, can you work with me after 1:30 today? Yeah. So then come there. I have some work you do it for me. You know the place, right? Bouncer, I will see you there at 1:30. Okay, buddy. Thank you. All right, guys. So here's the thing. So if you work in a bank as a cashier, this is your key activity. You handle money. Either you deposit it to your people's account, or you take the money out of people's account. Isn't it your key responsibility? Yeah, that is your key responsibility. Now, um, if you work as a tester, guys, if you work as a tester, I'm telling you in that way because if you work as a tester, your like as a banker, your responsibility is to handle money. If you work as a tester, your responsibility is to write test cases, execute test cases. If you work as a manual tester, you write manually test cases, you execute it manually. If you work as an automation tester, someone will be writing the test cases for you, manual test cases, you write program to automate it. That's it. Your, let's say if in a bank, a banker or in a cashier might sometimes be checking balance, might sometimes be helping people with making wire transfer or some other thing, but those are very minor. The key task is this: as a tester, you will be executing test cases, you will be writing test cases. On top of that, there will be some additional tasks. What are those additional tasks? You might have to write some, do some additional work regarding what regarding I'm trying to give some example regarding attending some senior executive level meeting. You might have to go to some team lunch. Okay, you might have to provide some other, so you have some side work as well, but your key activities here is you write test cases, you execute test cases, and your performance will be evaluated how much test cases you are writing, how much test cases you are executing, how many defects you are reporting, right? By those things your performance will be evaluated. Does it make sense, everyone? Okay, so you now understand the importance of test cases. You now understand the importance of test cases, test planning, test execution, right? It is your bread and butter. So when you are writing test cases, guys, as a tester, when you are writing test cases, what is the baseline of your test cases? What do you follow to write your test cases? You tell me. You follow the requirement document. Now requirement document comes in different way. It comes as a business requirement document, it comes as a functional requirement document, right? It comes as a use cases, it comes in different format. Some organization might be giving you a brief requirement document like BRD. Some organization where they do very scientific complex work, they might be giving you a requirement document with all of the diagrams, all of the uh, details, if the application is very complex. Okay, some of the organization might give you more of like use case, user story to write your test cases. So in either any case, right, you will have to understand this requirement document, and then you will have to write your test cases, you will have to write your test plan. Okay, now now so um, remember this, in many of the organization, they will not only give you this requirement document, they will be giving you a walkthrough on, okay, what are these requirement about. They will they will set up a call, web conference, and then in the conference you will be they will be discussing, hey, this requirement, let's say this requirement 2, right? This requirement 2, what are we saying in this requirement? Center of the home page, okay. In the first part, in the first if you take a look here, the requirement 1, right? There will be a home page, right? First of all, there will be a home page, and requirement 2 is saying in the center of the home page, the center of the home page will contain the following features: destination, the hottest destination in promotion; specials will give details of the running specials; tour tips will contain information on security and precautions, right? So people will be setting up call, and they will be discussing, okay, what does this mean? And then you will get a chance, if you do not understand anything, hey mister, can you explain this one more time, or you'll be able to get more information. Does it make sense to you all? Okay. So so like, not only like they'll give you a document, right? Now you go ahead and do your stuff. Not up to this. In many of the organization, you will be able to go to the people who has written this requirement, and you will be able to ask them question, hey mister, can you help me on this? I'm trying to understand this requirement, although it is written in plain English, right? But still you will get a chance to go there and ask them question. Does it make sense? So it is, guys, once you are in a job, then it is easy. You can go to people, you can talk to them. You see people are doing a lot of relax. People are, nobody is taking a lot of stress in work. People go, they do exercise. In work they do exercise. They do walking, they do talk to colleagues. They do all kind of fun stuff in work. But but to get into this job is the most difficult thing. Get into this job, you'll have to go through all of these difficult steps. You'll have to do this, you'll have to understand, you'll have to do your home study, you'll have to do your homework, you'll have to do all kind of interviews, all kind of things. Once you are in a job, it is easy, right? So that is where we are trying to improve. We are trying to get a job, we are trying to learn things. So I'll say that you keep using your time wisely, so that at the end of the day you are successful. I'm telling you, like, few people get job by doing QA course nowadays. eh, there was a time when people do a QA course, most of the people will be getting job. But at this point, if you are not dedicated, if you are not that much motivated, it is difficult. So keep yourself motivated. That is what I'm telling you. Every time I tell this, it has very importance that you keep yourself motivated, you keep reading, you keep your part, whatever you're supposed to do. Okay, all right. So this requirement document, we get the requirement document, and once we get the requirement document, our task is to prepare the test plan. What is our task? Our activity starts with reading the requirement, analyzing. We call it analyze the requirement. So if I go there in the documents tab, right, you'll see that there is a software testing lifecycle. Can you see there is a software testing lifecycle? So what do you do? Software STLC, right? Can anyone read what does it mean by STLC? Software life. So software testing life cycle. Can, can you read the definition?
Defines the steps, stages, phases in testing of software. However, there is no fixed standard of STLC in the world, and it basically varies as per the following. Number one, software development lifecycle, years of management. Nevertheless, software testing lifecycle in general comprise of the following phases.
Okay. So here, thank you for reading this, Razamai. So software testing life cycle, we follow. Let's say that when a baby born, right? It first just they find it difficult to move their hand, right? They are not able to the way you put it, they will be in the same way. But after 3 4 months, 6 months, they they try to crawl, right? And at some point they walk. So they go through the steps, right? when you when you see as civil engineer is building a um, apartment complex, right? Or a high rise building, they do the design first. They do the soil test, right? And then after the soil test they prepare a design, right? And then according to the design they build the software. So everything has a phases, those um, those we follow. Same as in software testing, we follow certain steps. First of all, we start with our work with requirements analysis, right? We preview the design. First, we understand the requirement, right? If you do not understand the requirement, you cannot plan it. You cannot plan the test. You have to understand how much complexity there, how much time it will require, right? First of all, you have to understand this, that okay, how much complex is the work, how many labor it will take, how many hours of labor it will take, right? How many months it will take to test. If you do not understand, you cannot predict all of this. So that's what we do in the requirement analysis phase. We analyze the requirement, right? And then once we have understood the requirement, remember, during the requirement analysis phase, guys, the thing that I said, we have calls with BAs and other people. We call them, like we have set up meeting, like hours after hours we spend with them to understand. Sometimes we record, like I'm recording this class, right? Sometimes we record the conversation with the analyst. When they are explaining things, we keep the recording, and then later on we listen to this recording, right? The way now you are listening my class, right? Class recording. The same way, if you are in work, you will be recording people's meeting, and then um, you will be recording people's meeting, and then later on you will be going through this. So we call it requirement walkthrough. They will be giving you the walkthrough of the requirement. What will they do? They will be giving you the walkthroughs of the requirement. Does it make sense? And then once you are clear about the requirement, okay, now I got a grasp of this requirement, you prepare your test plan, right? Okay, what do we have in the test plan? Now remember, it's a very good interview question. What is test plan? Can anyone explain what is test plan?
The roadmap of the software testing. It includes scope of the project, time allocation, resource allocation, um, test rigs, assumption, test dependence, and then software and hardware included for the testing purpose. That's pretty much included.
Very good definition, Nabed. So basically, test plan. If they ask you, hey, can you tell me about test plan? So test plan is a document that describe the scope, approach, schedule, resource allocation of the testing. Guys, test plan is a document that outlines or describes the scope, right? Scope, what will be tested, what will not be tested. Scope, approach, how tested. Scope, approach, schedule. What is the schedule? At what time it will be tested? Scope, approach, schedule, and then resource allocation. Who will do what? Who will do what? So that is what a test plan is. It's a very important, like test plan and test case, right? These two topics are very important for you. That I'll be giving you a sample test plan today, so that you can go through, and if you have any question, I'll be answering those questions next week, and I'll be discussing details of the test plan, and I'll be giving you a couple of test cases as well, so that you can take a look how the test cases look like. Okay, so um, so now in software testing lifecycle, we have the requirement analysis, we have the test planning, and we have the test designing. Test designing means writing test cases. Okay, and then test environment setup. Test environment setup is being done by other folks, and then once the code is in the test environment, we execute the test, and then we prepare a report, right? So that is what we have in the software testing lifecycle. Okay, now let me go back. Any questions so far, Nahid bhai? Are you getting it helpful? Everyone, are you getting it helpful, the discussion? Okay, all right. Now let me bring this. Am I demotivating you in terms of QA course? Like when I'm saying that it is not easy, right, to get into a job, I'm telling the truth in the beginning. Nothing is easy, and then it requires a lot of effort. Just
If you want to get a good fruit, you have to work hard.
that is correct. That is correct. So now let's come back here regarding our a few manual testing document that we are going. So is it okay if we do not take a break today? So I'm planning to be done by 12:15 today. So our today's class will not be that long, but I'll be sending you documents, and if you have any question, you can send me email. I'll be answering your email, and I'll be answering your question over email. So if you take a look, this test plan here, this test plan is directly from a project. It is not a like demo test plan. It is directly from a project. It's a real test plan. So obviously it will have a heading, right? And then remember, in most of the cases, there will be a template. There will be a template. You'll be coming here. You'll be changing the project name. You'll be changing the table. Will be there. You'll be changing the content of the table. You got it? In most cases, the table of content will be there. You will be changing if your pages are changing, if your let's say my benefit project, right? If your project name is different, you'll be changing this stuff. Does it make sense? Yeah. So wherever you go, a template will be there for you to understand and to modify when a new project comes, right? So this is a very big test plan. Now you might see in the test plan, right? As I said, in the test plan, what do? We define the scope of the testing approach, approach that we will follow, scope, approach, resource allocation, and schedule, right? So there are based on what organization you are working on, there might be different thing, but the main thing that we have in the test plan: scope, approach, schedule, and resource allocation. There will be a lot of things like who is involved in this project, right? And then can you see there will be a table saying, okay, this is the QA lead, this is the developer, this is the QA analyst, this is the QA tester. All kind of information will be there, so that when you are on something, if you need information, you can get those people easily. And then there will be something about the project. Can you see? It will be starting with the project's overview. It will say something about the project. Okay. Then there will be, so can you see here? It will define different terminology in terms of IT QA, what the QA people will be doing, right? So basically here, the key thing that you want you for you is that schedule.
And the project started what the time the project will be done.
Yeah, so that is what, like, development phase, and then QA planning, and then QA test execution, right? So this planning, it provide they provided it here in that way, but it can be a table. Okay, so in the table they might say, okay, um, development from this date to this date, um, QA test planning from this date to this date, QA writing test cases from this date to this date, QA execution from this date to this date. Normally, a planning looks like this. Here we have a little bit uh, different way. They have, again, I say, organization wise. This is schedule table, how they will be designing it will be totally up to them. But wherever you go, whatever format they follow, you merge your thoughts on that. You got it? If I ask you, hey, can you prepare a schedule? You might be preparing it in a totally different way, in your way, right? But when you get into an organization, you will be seeing what is there. You will be working on their template or on their format.
Template format.
So there are this test plan, and then we have this. Now we have discussed. Can you remember that we have discussed different environment, development environment, test environment, and then QA environment, and then UAT or pre-production environment, and then production environment. Can anyone tell me about this 5 environment that I have mentioned here?
Yes, we have a different kind of environment.
Yeah, tell me the names.
So it was start with the developer environment like this. They start writing the coding, designing, and there's a
Okay, hold on here, Navid. So let's say the software developer, right, who develops software, right, they use a specific environment to develop the software. Now, what do you have in that environment actually? In the development environment, what do you have?
they have a like coding and the designing, or I'm not understanding what
So
specific.
what I'm saying, the developers, guys, try to Nahid bhai, can you tell me something about the development environment?
Developers initially they write their code in their own machines. So for the development environment, all the developers they must get the codes over there, whatever conflicts they discuss, and agree with their codes, and they go for the development environment. So, now like if I say like, let's say we have a like 2, 3 developer, and they get of the requirement, we have a meeting, and they start doing their coding as per the requirement, and they follow the requirement document. And but everybody not writing coding for the same thing now. For the one no, page, somebody is writing for this portion, somebody is divided for this portion. You start the line.
So remember, as a QA people, we prepare our test plan, right? Who will be testing what? They prepare their plan as well. Who will be developing what?
The SDL, the methodology. So
Yeah.
which methodology we use our testing purpose? If it is like waterfall, that's the different case. If it is like agile, there's the
Yeah, that is correct. So, if they follow waterfall development methodology, then they go in a particular route. If the organization is following methodology, they go a particular way. Now, let me ask you this. I'll be going there later. But the development environment wise, what is development environment? Development environment. Nipa, you want to add anything regarding development environment?
No, I think that's pretty much it. They design the document and they develop the software. Is that right?
Okay, so let me tell you this. Let's say that me and you four, we are in a development team. Okay, we four are in a development team. We are developers, software developers. Okay, now you know that you do not have to go to office to develop the software. You know that, right? You can sit at your desk at your home and you can develop the software with the team. Do you know that, right? So, um, so what you need? You work on your laptop, you develop the software. But the software that you are developing, right? Your other colleagues are working on that same software. So you are working with your laptop, but you are working on a software that is continuously you working, your team working, all the people are working on the same software on different features. Is that correct? So how do they work on the same software at the same time, even if it is from home or wherever? How? Because remember, if you go to gmail.com, right, you saw that some servers in Gmail or Google facility is holding this software up so that you can access. Is that correct? Development environment has some servers which will keep this developed, like the product that you are developing, it will keep this the product that is in development, it will keep this up so that all the developers can work on it. Does it make sense? Even if the software is in development environment, there will be some servers needed to keep this software up for development.
Okay, so I linked with one guy like this. They working the development and then having one portion.
Mhm.
So every day they're adding something. It doesn't impact any other the new feature of the like the real um, website, but once they're done, they give you some portion of the storage, so they can edit over there everybody. At the end of the night, end of the day, they just make sure everything working like that perfectly when they get together all the things, and they input their real software to edit once it's everything. It's something like the one storage
So, so
to make
here,
it for the
Nabed, what we are saying here, like the even the what is development environment, right? The development environment again, where the software developers develop the software, and during the development, right? This software they are adding features, adding features, adding features. So whatever they are adding or whatever they are developing, they are continuously accessing it and adding new features. So that is what we are calling development environment, where they develop the software, deploy it in the development environment, and they test it by themselves, right? So that is what we are calling development environments, a set of servers which the developer use in their development phase. Does that make sense? Development environment. Okay, and then when the software, that when the developer thinks okay, the software is developed, the certain portion of the software is developed, now it need to be tested by the testers, then this software whatever they have developed, they or there are people in the configuration team, they move this software to the QA environment or test environment. So the QA people get the software, there are a different set of servers there where they put the software for QA people to test it. The QA people test the software. If there is a defect, they report the defect. So, according to the defect, if developers have to fix anything, they fix it. And then once the QA testing is done, the software goes to the UAT environment or pre-production environment. where actual business people test the software. Actual business people test the software, and also they make sure that the software is able to handle load, right? If the software will be used by 10,000 people, they make sure that the software is not breaking down under when 10,000 people access the software. So once all of these testings are done, there are no substantial defects, then the software goes for production in the production environment. the, these are the environment that you will be talking a lot regarding software development and different environments. So hopefully it is clear now. But do you have any further question?
Server open for development to add coding to the server. I didn't really understand that. What did you mean by that?
Repeat the question.
Um, so you said how does the developer like develop the software? How does it? Okay, so you said like they use the software, right? Is it? Are you talking about JGraphs? That's where they create the code. And is there a way like I'm sorry, like
Yeah, go ahead.
that portion there? How do they know what portion to work on? Like, do they have like
They divided the future like if there were five projects like the boom, sign in, sign out, something like that. So one person working on the boom, one person working on the sign in, one person working on the sign out, and the once they're done individually, each of them they combine together.
Okay, what are these servers, right? Okay, so let's say that, to take a simple example, let's say they are developing a software, sign on, register, support, and contact. The software will have only these four menu. Okay, let's say that four developer, each of the developer is working on each of these. So one developer is working on sign on, another one is register, and then support and contact, right? And then when they do the development, right? When they do the development, let me show you if I have it. Local. One second. I'm trying to explain something. Let me see if I can explain it here. trying to get something for you to explain something. Give me a second. Please remind me. Localhost 8080, and then we have get this path. Backend testing. Okay, so when they, like, I'm trying to bring a simple scenario here. When they develop the software, they, can you see this software jump control panel? I told you that to keep a web application running, you need a server. Without server, you cannot run a web application. Does it make sense? But when they develop it, right, in the local computer, they use something like Jump, or if it is, depending on what technology they use, they keep a proxy of that server, and then by going to something like this, they will be able to see the software that they are developing. It is locally. You got it? So they use tools, and to see what they are developing, right, they will have to go through something like this local host, and they will have to keep a local server, proxy server, to keep the software to see the local development. You got it? When they develop it, they develop it in that way. But to see the software in effect, right, they will have to put this software, put this code together, and they'll have to deploy this code in a real server in the organization. And when they deploy this code in a real server, then they can actually see how the software look like. So if you say this new tools, right, I go there. So to see the actual software, they'll have to deploy this code in an actual server. And without deploying it to the server, they will not be able to see the how the software looks like in reality. You got it?
That's what I'm just trying to figure out. It's like, how do they know they build the right product? Like, how is the right coding? Like, without, seeing actually how it works on the website.
Okay. So when they develop it, right, the way you are seeing here, they, when they develop it, like, they write this code, right? In future classes, I will show you like how you can, if you change something here, let's say if you change something here, if you put box 81 instead of box 81, if you put something else, it will, let's say if you put a your image, then it will be showing your image. You got it? This is the location, okay, in the server, where the file is, image folder and nav folder, and after that it is getting the image box 81. You got it? So if you put instead of box 81, if you put your image, it will be showing, the website will be showing your image. You got it? So when they write code, they put the code in one side like this, and if they need to add something in between, right? I cannot edit it here, but they can edit it. You got it? So they can put an enter and then can add a new line. Then when you add a new line, it will be putting something else here. You got it? The way that they develop it. Yeah. So they edit the code and see what the code is impacting on their view or in the actual application. Now, when they develop locally, they keep something like this. Without this, they will not be able to see this website view. They keep something like this jump. There are so many things. Jump, IIS, WAMP. There are so many things to develop the software. And then this is the local view, right? And then once they are done with their development, like they will put this code, like different developer is developing different features, right? They will put all of this code in the server, and in the server they will see how it looks like. From the server they will be accessing the code. When they put it in the server, then they will be able to go to the software by a URL. You got it? And then they will see all of the code together and they will see how it looks like, and then they will be doing some testing from their end, and then if it is good, then it goes for testers. You got it? That is how it goes. Any further question, guys, here? It is like to bring the development scenario in front of your eyes without the development tools and technologies, it is difficult. I'm trying to explain as much as possible. I tried, like during our last batch, I showed something, so I was trying to bring it, but it is not there anymore, so I was not able to bring it. But this is how the development goes.
Like I was doing the web design, so we write down the HTML code like that, the same image.
Mm-hmm.
We go import the slider using the CSS and JavaScript.
Mm-hmm.
So and then we use the IP address, and so we can see the once we anything we input anything, like click view our website,
Mm-hmm.
and then check it is how it looks like in the real website, and we fix the image and everything. It's like the HTML code. So it will be pretty much idea of that, like the doing this.
That's good. That's good. In the future, I will try to bring something like how the development environment look like to give you a overview. In the future, I'll bring it. But to understand, they develop it locally like this, and after developing, they put it in the development server, right? To see how the features look like. There are so many things that it is another field, that there are so many things, there are so many steps, but I'm trying to put things in a straightforward language. They put it in the server, and then they look, they do the testing in their side, and then if everything is good, if they need to modify anything, they do the modification. Otherwise, they put it for the testing team, and the testing team then, according to the requirement, they test each and every feature of the software. Does it make sense? Okay. Okay, very good. So that is like I'll be sending you a test plan, and I'll be having a further detailed discussion on the test plan in our next class. And let me bring this. Let me bring this test case, a simple test case. Agile methodology we have discussed, and then database exam. Let me go back. Testing test case, right? So if you want to take a look at the test case, like when you read the requirement and you write the test case, you saw a test plan, now you will see a test case. Okay, so a test case will have its name, and then what module it is in the software, and then who is the client. There will be some headers of the test case, and then the main thing here is step, action, expected result, pass fail. Now can you see what do you do? From main menu of WMS click, this is a real test case. Okay, so if I write a simple test case, so these are the real test case, you will see, okay, it will say go to www.gmail.com. What will you see? You will see that if you go to www.gmail.com, right, what do you see? It will give you input email address. right? So you say go to www.gmail.com, and then you come here in your step. In expected result, you write what is your expectation. You will see a text box where you will be able to input your email address, and then you will see what other things you will see. That a next button.
Next button.
You will see a next button. If you want to put it, there will be Google logo displayed. There will be a link saying forget email. You will be getting all of these things what need to be in the page from where? From where? From the requirement document, right? And then you put your when you write your test case, you put okay, this is the action you are doing, and then this is what your expectation. And then in the login window, right, type your password. The password will be displayed in the login window. Type password and click on proceed, right? You put the step and your expectation. You write the test case in that way. When you execute the test case, again you follow these steps, and if the step pass, you put pass here. If the step fails, you put fail here. Is it in a simple language? Is it make sense to you what I'm saying? What is test case?
No, we should be, after testing all of these things, we should be past all the steps. Am I right or not?
Yeah. So all of the steps should be passing. If any of the step is not passing, then your test cases failed. And if your test cases fail, then you are going to create a defect.
So we need to also the defect. We need to fix the defect by using us or the.
You are not going to fix the defect. Once you report the defect, that defect will be going to the developers. They will fix the problem, and then they will reassign it to you. Hey,
If something like costume defect, spelling defect, or something like that, it should be the developer also fix this.
now let me tell you this. When you are reporting a defect, guys, when you are reporting a defect, again we will be discussing a lot about defect. Defect has priority and severity. So based on that, if there is a barbage issue, or if there is a punctuation issue, yeah, they will have to fix it depending on what is in their plate, and if how much, if a spelling, every all of the defect will have to be fixed. But if they are in time crunch, and if the defect is somewhere in the corner of the page, is a spelling mistake, it is not hampering any functionality, and they are in a big time crunch, they might not be fixing it. They will be going to the production with the defect, and in the later build they might be fixing it. Does it make sense? Okay. So I have another simple test case here for Bank of America. Okay. So I'll be sending you this document, guys. So you'll see, go to bankofamerica.com. Bank of America website will appear with a login screen on the top left corner of the screen under the website logo. Examine for the following item in the login screen. So you are saying, okay, make sure that the following items are present in the screen. If any of the items are not present in the screen, you will be reporting defect. Type a valid online ID. The online ID will be displayed in the home page. So this is how you write test cases. You read the requirement, and you to test each of the features in the requirement, you write your test cases. You write positive test cases, you write negative test cases. Does it make sense? Why do you write negative test cases? So to make sure that the website behaves gracefully, if you input an invalid user ID, it is not giving you access.
Software is developed. You edit the because you write the test case based on the requirement document, right? So you're guessing what the website will do when you're writing the test case.
Nipa,
Right?
let me tell you this. When I'm writing these test cases, I'm following the requirement document. Whatever the requirements are saying, as much information as possible from requirement. If I am in confusion about something, I'll be going back to the BAs, business analyst. Hey, I'm not understanding, or you didn't specify details about this. I'll be taking information from them before I guess myself, right? And then when the software is developed, right? Remember, in an ideal world, the developers will be developing the software according to the requirement. Now, if anything, if any of the requirement is changed, there is a process called change control. The first of all, the requirement document will have to be changed, and then according to the requirement document, the software developers will be developing the software or will make changes to the software. And when the requirement is changed, this change is coming to the developers, this change is coming to the testers, so you have to make adjustment on your test cases as well. Now, in a practical software, in a practical field, even though the software developers will be following the requirement document, lot of the thing the requirement document might not be elaborating that much. So when you work in the industry, you will, day by day, you will be having that insight, like what you will have to include in your test cases. Does it make sense, Nipa? So that the test cases document, test plan document, I'll be sending you. One of the topics that I wanted to discuss, this RTM, requirement traceability matrix. Requirement traceability matrix I will be discussing in the future classes. But regarding the manual testing discussion, I'll keep it here. I'll be now moving into the discussion regarding the database a little bit here. I have half an hour. With this half an hour, I'll be spending on database related discussion. But before I go there, do you have any question or that you want to ask me? Right, bye. You there? Okay. Naved? Okay. How about you, Nipa? Any further question? Okay. Very good. Very good. So in this case, um, I know that Naved, you said you are done, but it seems like Rajabai, Nahid Bhai, and Nipa, all of you will have to work on this SQL stuff, right? Is that correct? Okay, so I will ask you, like, send me this work SQL 1, 2, 3 as soon as possible, so that we can bring new topics in our discussion. So we have this. So far, we have worked on the following information regarding. Yeah. So one of the things that I would like to tell you, I'm bringing TFS. Probably we will be learning TFS directly, like uh, test case management tool, manual testing tool, right? We will be learning a manual testing tool. We might be discussing about few other manual testing tool, but most probably we will be practically learning the tool TFS, Team Foundation Server. Okay, so for manual test management. Okay, now if I go back in our database documents, right? All of you have this document. Is that correct? Oracle soft copy. Were you able to go through the document?
I'm not sure which one that is.
Some definition stuff, and then
Do you have this document? All of you? This document. So this document will understand help you in understanding how the syntax of the table look like, right? What is bar chart 2, what is,
number.
yeah, what is number, what is date data type, right? Remember, as a tester, we are going to discuss 3 data types in Oracle: bar chart 2, number, and date. Now, what is that bar chart 2 date? What is that data type? Can anyone explain what is that data type?
Type is
So data type is like when you create table, right? You say, okay, salary number. Salary will be a number data type. You say social security will be birth chart 2 data type, right? It means like when you are creating a table and when you are inputting data there, that means uh, you are inputting data to the, like if you want to drink, right? If you want to drink water, you use container, right? If you want to save data, you will have to use container. So you are saying social security will be birth chart 2. The container, it will need a birth chart 2 container. Higher date will need date type container. So depending on what data type you are saying, it will be allocating memory accordingly. You got it? If you say salary, you need 10 digit with 2 decimal point, right? Then you can only input altogether 10 digits. You cannot input more than 10. And if you say comma 2, that means out of the 10, 8 of them will be before decimal point and 2 of them will be after decimal point. You cannot put more than 2 after the decimal point. So depending on what you declare, your table, your container will be that type. Does it make sense? So go through this document. I have discussed few things in the beginning, like Oracle database, and it is a relational database management system called RDBMS. What is Oracle? It is relational database management system, right? Why it is used for? It is used for storing, maintaining, calculating, combining, retrieving the information. Okay, and then what is, I have defined here what is SQL, right? Standards. SQL stands for structured query language, and by this language we manipulate, we write data into the database, right? There are different kind of data definition language, data manipulation language, data transaction control commands, right? So data definition language, when you create table, when you drop table, when you alter table, all of these commands are data definition language. And data manipulation language, when you insert state, when you use insert statement, select statement, all of these statements are data manipulation language, right? And then transaction control language, right? If you create a table, if you input data, and if you do not do commit statement, right? Then your data, next time if you shut down your computer and next time when you open Oracle, you will not be able to see this data. So we transaction control means whether you will keep this data or not, you do this by commit, rollback. So those statements we are calling transaction control commands. Then you come here how to create table, right? So if you already have created multiple table, this is the syntax for create table, table name, column name, data type, and then put a comma, column name, data type. Depending on how many column, how many field you need to input, you will be putting it, right? Let's say if you create a table, how to drop a table. If you have created a table and if you want to drop it, your statement is drop table and then the table name. Then the table will be gone. Okay, and then let's say that you are creating a table friends. So your syntax is create table friends, and then you have a field friend name and you have friend telephone number, right? So friend name, again it will be varchar 2 alphanumeric. If you have alphanumeric thing, it will always be varchar 2, and name could be 40 characters, but for our understanding here we will be keeping this name shorter. This black screen has a little bit inconvenience, right? So we'll keep it shorter. The name 1015 will not go beyond 10 characters or 15 characters. And then we have telephone, right? We said it is Barchar 2. Why Barchar 2? Bless you guys. Why we have used Barchar 2 for telephone? Can anyone tell me?
Dash.
There are some spaces or dash.
Space and dash between the numbers.
Yeah, yeah. So and then if you have create a table. If you want to see the description, then you say DESC, describe friends, right? So there are other things. Go ahead.
Sorry, I have to ask something. What is the difference between sometimes we call it care or char and virtue too, and sometimes they call it virtue. So what is
So depending on depending on what database you are using, it is same. Varchar 2 and Varchar is same. All of them will have uh, alphanumeric characters. But if you use there like besides Oracle, there are other database management system, right? There they might be using, even in Oracle we might have Varchar, but both of these, I think there are some difference, but the key thing is both of them we use to store alphanumeric characters. So for our course here, you will be familiar yourself with these three data types: Varchar 2, number, and date. That's it. Varchar 2 we use for alphanumeric characters, number we use for numeric data, and date we use for date type data. Okay, so here so far regarding this theory, right? Do you have anything that you want to ask me, or are we good?
I'm good.
Okay, so so regarding your work, right? Regarding your work, this work I'm expecting this work as soon as possible. When do you think, Nipa? You said you are going to send your work by Tuesday, and then Nahid bhai,
Wednesday.
Tuesday or Wednesday, and Nabed you already have sent, and Reza bhai, what do you think?
By Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay, okay. So everyone is targeting basically by Wednesday. I can expect that I'll be getting the work uh, from um, from everyone by Wednesday or Thursday. So Nipa, you got your answer regarding bar chart 2 and bar chart. Like, is it clear? Is both of them stores alphanumeric characters, but bar chart 2 we will be using for our learning. We will be using bar chart 2.
Char is same thing, right?
Uh,
Right.
so in database, we do not have a char. It is in programming language. It is in Java. When you do Java, we'll do char or those data types. In Oracle, we will be familiarizing ourselves with varchar 2, date, and numeric data type. Okay. So now, do you want me to give a few more homework in Oracle? I'm sending you the manual testing document that you have to review and come up with. I might be asking some question in the next class. So other than that, do you want me to give a few more work from Oracle? Okay. So
Document there about SDL.
mhm.
I don't think I got that document where it explains step by step also SDL.
So what I'll do is, so far whatever documents I sent you guys, to all of you, I'll be sending all of these documents in a single email. Will that work?
Yes, yes.
So I'll be sending all of this document in a single email so that you so when you get these documents, you create folder in your computer and save all of this document in a single. Okay.
Thank you.
Right, sure. So here we already have given you this this document. Once you are done, then my next thing is there are some database exams that you will have to do. I have these few exams that I'll be sending you. So let me bring this database exam one. I'll be sending. So here I'm not sure, like for some of you it will be a little bit difficult in the beginning, because when you execute these queries you will have to combine data from multiple tables. So I'll be sending one of this exam just for if you are interested to work on, because I'll have to discuss further more with you so that you can answer these questions. But I'm waiting to see like SQL1, SQL2, SQL3 where you are, if you can finish this. And if you are like Nabed, if you, I think you already did SQL1, SQL2, SQL3. So have you done these exams, Nabed?
I think so. You can send me the so I can make it and
Yeah, there are 10 questions that you will have to answer. I'll be sending you the exam one so that you can work on. So other than that, right? So the working plan, you will be sending me the homeworks. I'll be sending you the manual testing related document, and I'll be asking you what you will be doing there. I'll be sending you these exams, and that's all for this week. I will be cutting a little bit short today because I have some other appointment that I'll have to take care of. So do you have any other questions, or we are good up to this? Okay. So in this case, thank you all for joining. If you have any question, give me a call or send me an email. I'll be try to answer your question. And again, thank you all for joining today. Thank you. Bye.
have a good day.
You too.